we're going to see is this champion lineup. I think Vo, you know, we know he's going to go Anarchy. I mean, that's like, you know, guaranteed. I don't think we're ever going to see that not happen. Tox really is where things get more interesting. Now, Blood Run being the first match, I think...
Yeah, I've seen that. I've actually seen Tox run Scale Bearer a few times.
That's really, I think, was going to be my sort of like talking point, was that if someone's likely to change a champion or go back to a champion, it's probably going to be Tox, because even like during the first days of, like, you know, QWC competitive Quake, Scale Bearer was really sort of being played tons by Toxjq, and now Scale Bearer is being sort of brought into the fray a little bit more. He's got the extra 25 armor, which has helped him massively.
Yes, you've obviously seen a difference in the pick rates once they gave him a little more stack, and his speed is decent as well. I keep pointing that out. In terms of just strafe jumping, his max speed's fairly decent. He's not a slow, heavy champion by any means. And then you add in the charge as another, you know, wrinkle into his game to lower damage and increase speed. He's a very useful champion as long as you have those avenues to really charge. And it looks like sticking with Sorlag as well on Vo. I was wondering about that, if he'd stick with the Sorlag Anarchy thing. Doomslayer's obviously been very popular. And of course, we saw there's the Scale Bearer pick from Toxjq.
And now he's going in with Anarchy finally, which is what we expected. Ranger. Toxjq, whenever he streams and he goes on Blood Run, Ranger is quite a popular champion because he's pretty disgusting at hitting those telefrags. Yeah, I know sometimes he does it for like maybe like fun, but for the most part, it just comes down to like good execution and good knowledge. And
also, he's great at changing elevations on a map like Blood Run. You can grab that mega health and get right up to the heavy armor very quickly because of his teleport. He can throw guys off when they think you're lower, and you teleport up to a different position and just change levels on people the way he can. And it's not exactly a long cooldown on that ability, not to mention the telefrag option, like you mentioned, is always a danger.
And before you even telefrag, you've got the Dire Orb too, which in itself does massive damage, and it's got a pretty generous hitbox on it as well. So it's not the hardest, not the easiest thing to miss.
It's certainly one of those things that when you're up against a Ranger that you always have to kind of keep in the back of your mind, is his Dire Orb up? Because if you get too aggressive, get right in his face, it's almost a guaranteed telefrag at that point with these guys. As they call it, the cess gate. You're just going to go down.
Well, it's like the thing that we can't ever forget when it comes to Ranger is just the comeback factor of the Dire Orb. He ignores all stack. He doesn't care how much health you've got. He doesn't care how much armor you've got. If he hits one good telefrag, you are instantly gone, and the momentum shifts in the blink of an eye. Now, Toxjq going Scale Bearer first. This doesn't surprise me, but at the flip side, I think the read might have come through for Vo, predicting Scale Bearer, so he wants to go toe-to-toe with a lot of health and armor in retaliation.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who can knock who off their heavy champion first. Sorlag, I still think, regardless of the changes, will be very good on this map. Come around the wrong corner and you eat that spit, it's still going to do a ton of damage, even with the reduction.
I think both of these champions are pretty well known for having an amazing start, particularly on Blood Run when that fight takes place. And Toxjq going all in. I think the mission wasn't really to do damage. The mission was to just secure the rocket launcher for a later fight.
Yeah, absolutely. You need, that is a gun, for those unfamiliar with Quake, it is your bread and butter. It's the best all-around weapon in the game. You must have a rocket launcher for the most part to defend yourself properly in this game.
And now the Lightning Gun has received some changes. Rocket launcher becoming so much more prominent. And the players, I think many players actually being very happy with these changes. They liked rocket launcher being back in play a lot more. But speaking of LG, Toxjq has going to pick one up. Eats a rail though for his trouble, but with Scale Bearer having that natural health and armor, very easy for him to get healthy in the blink of an eye when he's about half health up.
Vo playing very smart right now, just not doing anything too crazy. He's keeping a stack up. Both guys are fairly stacked here. It's very even. Who's gonna set the good trap here? You're coming in. Oh, great shots by Vo.
Yeah, that's likely to be Vo's fight, and he'll take it 100%. I mean, Toxjq tried to get out there with the charge for that damage reduction, but I mean, at 30 health left, I mean, you can only really tank so much. And he's caught a fantastic spawn. Toxjq tries to go in for the berserk, but even then, caught fresh off spawn. Rockets coming his way. Hard to survive that one too.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Sorlag's running around. She's stacked. He's gonna have both these major items on timer and decent separation so he can run them effectively. Toxjq's gonna have to, he's gonna have to whittle him down, maybe set some kind of major trap, anything to get that stack off. Oh, he's gonna be in trouble here.
No, I mean, I can actually, even though he's gonna die for this ticking damage, I completely respect the attempt right there. I mean, like the second there was a couple of things, Vo saw the rail miss and was like, during the downtime, I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna be aggressive. With the knowledge of that, I think Toxjq expected him to go in. That's why he went in for the telefrag, just in case he came through. He would have been back in the fight, would have got an insta-frag. Unfortunately, just didn't work out.
Yeah, I mean, you totally understand what he was going for there. I think you called that absolutely correct. He had a great opportunity, too. The Sorlag was right in his face. He just missed it.
But the start has been somewhat similar to what we saw last time. A little bit more damage has come on the table, though. But I said it right, the mission of getting that chunky champion out of play first. But
Great shot.
That's all. I think Toxjq will be quite happy to just take that trade-off to at least make sure the heavy armor doesn't go to Vo0.
It's in good shape now. I'm wondering if he pushes. No, he didn't push down for that mega health.
Well, 5 seconds away, we're going to see.
Gotta know what's up. No, he's going for it.
Oh,
I love how he's using the charge to secure the items that he really feels are going to be a battle over. You saw it earlier in the round, first round with the rocket launcher. He just left no doubt about it, even there with the mega health. It's like, you know what, I'm charging in. I'm not going to leave any chance to this.
Yeah, if he takes no damage along the way, even if he does take damage, it's less. And then when he's hit the item, he's going to be healthier for the next fight that takes place. But again, the second Vo0 realizes that there's a healthy scale bearer on the map, he just slows things down to a snail's pace.
Yeah, you can see they're both... Actually, it looks like Toxjq. He's got a little read on him, definitely after the rocket jump.
Oh, minimal damage on the rocket, though. Actually, the execution comes through, trying to actually sort of combo this down. Can he finish the job? Oh, he gets away, but ever so slightly.
Wow. Vo0 is... Oh, my goodness.
That rail was done as well. I love the execution there from Toxjq to like go in for the combo. He goes in for the rocket, goes in for the charge, tries to finish it. But because that initial rocket only did 8 damage, it allowed Vo0 to just run away with a speck of health remaining. It
was still a great play, though, by Toxjq. So even though Vo0 got away right now, it's still dangerous for Toxjq. Obviously, he can rebuild his stack. Oh, great rail there to keep him low. But, you know, Toxjq's in good control now because of that encounter. I mean, he can really run the map right now.
Yeah, just because you don't get a frag, that doesn't necessarily mean the advantage doesn't go in your favor, for sure. And even now, he's trying to control Mega. Takes all quite a chunky rocket, though, so he loses a huge chunk of his armor.
Yeah, Vo0, like, you're right. Vo0 clearly is slowing it down right now, listening, trying to catch him. I think he's trying to set up a nice acid spit rocket combo. There it is.
I think Vo0 might have been a little bit preemptive. He clearly heard him coming, but a little bit preemptive with the acid spit there. I think Toxjq was probably ready for that one. Oh, wow, nice. All in. This is a completely different change of momentum, and he catches him with a nice rocket. Just like that. Vo0 just flips it, flips that switch.
Definitely caught Toxjq a little off guard there. Oh my goodness, though, he stole that. Oh.
And that happened last time, where he caught him early on the spawn. I think right there, though, Toxjq probably thought, I'll try and secure Mega with a little bit of increased speed. Tries to go for the telefrag, and for another time, doesn't work. Can he finish it, though? 1 health left. Vo0 is alive, but barely.
I don't know. Just how did he get out of that? Even just pushing, I was thinking, man, you're very brave.
I think Toxjq is just like, he's in both of those situations, he's just realized that if I get this telefrag now, back in the fight. But even though it didn't work there, he did a huge chunk of damage, and really Vo0 very fortunate to get away with 1 HP. The problem is, look how quickly he got his stack back up.
That's kind of what I always allude to that. If you don't kill a guy like this, it's always dangerous. Look how quickly now he's back, you know, with a regular full stack.
It's a perfect example, really, from 1 health to max in like 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you can't capitalize on the advantage you have, it becomes difficult because you're giving these players so many chances to come back on you, right? And they're all talented. So getting that frag opportunity and taking advantage of it is very critical.
Tries to sort of like thread the needle with that die roll, but clips the wall ever so slightly. Not going to be down for a huge amount of time. That's the thing about range. You can be a little bit willy-nilly with those die rolls because of that 20-second cooldown. I mean, you'll get that back easily. Yeah,
absolutely. Pick up a few hourglasses and you're good. But Vo's going to slow it down for sure right now. He's got a nice 2-frag lead. Oh, he got caught. Oh, good mid-air rocket. Just snapped up and wow.
I mean, he wasn't even looking down there when it connected. He was dedicated so heavily into that die roll again, but that's 2 times in a row. Vo was sort of like smell blood, played so carefully at the very beginning, but then the second that initial dangerous champion is out of play, just dedicates massively. But I think both times we've seen the Doomslayer hasn't done a huge amount. Toxjq has piled so much into one item, and he uses the Berserk to try and secure it. It's never worked, and he's pretty much been playing this with 2 champions because the Doomslayer hasn't done anything.
Yeah, he stole the mega health, but you got to give credit to Vo. His rockets right now seem really on. He's placing them well. Like, he threw them in the air. He landed another one when he landed. So even though he grabbed the mega health, he was throwing them around and hitting him with such good damage. So he just took him down quickly. Didn't give him a chance to punch him.
Toxjq has got 1 rail, needs plenty more of those. He's so known for having fantastic rails, but against someone like Sorlag, the rails really only serve that purpose to keep her at arm's reach. And then when the fight happens, but
miscue there. He meant to rocket jump and he mistimed the fire rate.
Not a huge amount of damage done for the heavy armor, so he's happy with that one.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to push hard for this mega health.
I feel like Toxjq is a little bit more confident that if he's going to deal with this Sorlag, it's going to come from Ranger. He's gone for Ranger first this time. I think it's not only just the damage of the die roll, but it's also, I think, just the mobility he wants access to.
Yeah, he's definitely, well, you know, the last couple rounds, you know, haven't worked great for him. So, you know, got to change something up, right? And
For sure.
Yeah.
They actually almost like, because the fact that you can sort of see the champion you're up against, it kind of almost gives that information to the opponent that you're not confident in what you've been previously going with. And the attempt to switch things up, it can show that you're a little bit worried about a certain thing. And right now, clearly, the issue is saw lag is quite a big problem here.
Looks like a little miscue here by Vo0. He should have been all over that Mega Health, considering he got it last time. He's setting a trap. But now Toxjq will have both major items for a short period here.
Somewhat had Toxjq in that little room, but Vo0 doesn't want to push forward. And his accuracy, it just straight up, his rockets and rails have just been more accurate than Toxjq's. So in these exchanges, Vu's the one doing all the damage. He's the one that's forcing Toxjq to retreat, just like now. You know, he's undid all that heavy. Vo can now just continue to play the game he's been playing.
Yep, he's playing smart, and
oh no! Dedicates into that dire orb, tries to escape, but just pulls the trigger too early and just falls back down into guaranteed death.
Yeah, Vu's looking sharp. Look at.
Very impressive stuff. And the problem is when you catch a Scale Bearer fresh off spawn, if he spawns at the very beginning when you've both got starting weapons, it's not so bad. But if you just look at how many weapons Vo has, he has every single ounce of weapon he could want.
Yeah, and that's, great charge. Might get away, might get,
and he manages to get that last minute rocket. Toxjq tries, but... Wow.
Oh, man.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going to pop Berserk straight off spawn, and if you're there, then I'm just going to punch your lights out.
Oh, and then you hit him with the gauntlet. Oh, if he would have landed that follow-up rail, we would have had a very interesting round.
That would have been one of the fastest turnarounds I think we've seen all day. I mean, that rail definitely would have taken him out. Anarchy fresh off spawn, 75 health, cannot tank a rail.
Oh,
Toxjq doesn't get enough damage. 15 health left. Here we go. Toxjq still in the fight.
Oh man, that's definitely a couple shots Vo would like to have back. He had him at 15 health and just couldn't get that finishing shot. But hey, props to Toxjq, man. Cool as a cucumber in there.
I think Toxjq a little bit more inclined to be aggressive if he could take it. Doesn't really want to walk too much into a super nail though. But it does always come down to just knowing the opponent. Like when they've just respawned, what is their equipment? If they've spawned near something, are they likely to have it? Now, such an advantageous situation for Vo before where Scalebearer had just spawned and it's like, well, I've got every single weapon. If I catch you now, what are you going to do to stop me besides charge?
Very interesting, though, because if Toxjq can turn this round around, get himself back in this map. You know, we've seen 2-0 turnarounds here earlier. Razy had a nice turnaround against Rafa earlier.
Straight up 3-0. And it kept him in the fight. Toxjq with a really nice amount of control over the middle here, though.
Yeah, he knows Vo's over there, so that's a typical tactic. You kind of drop rockets on both sides.
Here we go, though. Fresh off the heavy. I think he's being a little bit brave. But Vo's already sort of dedicated. I wonder if he's aware he's around the corner. He's pretty much completely content with him being in the middle here. Oh, there we go. He's heard him. There's the turnaround.
Yeah, Vo definitely heard him there.
And that's a guaranteed mega, but Toxjq only one rail in the tank.
Again, Vo doing a good job. He's out of control, really slowing it down. You know, I touch on this sometimes about controlling pace in a duel. You know, when you want to be able to control the pace, and if it's slow, it's because you're making it slow.
Right, Toxjq, though, did take one quite chunky rocket there because Vo just fresh off the heavy. That's the interesting thing about these sort of mirror situations is if one of you is controlling both items, that guy just has a straight-up advantage because you've got identical health and armor.
Yep.
Now, we are in sudden death. It doesn't make too much of a difference, though, because it is one champion left regardless. This could be a very slow round indeed. Neither player dedicating too hard. I think they're just looking for that one magical moment. Just hit one good rocket, one good rail, and then we might see.
If you're Vo, I mean, I can't say exactly what he's thinking, but if I was in Vo's position right now, I'm thinking I don't want to give Toxjq a chance to get back into this map at all. So I'm going to play this really tight, really conservative, and make him make a mistake because I just don't want to give him any breathing room. I don't want him to get hope that he can somehow pull this map out. I want to go up 1-0 and get into the next map.
I mean, I feel like you'd be right there. I mean, if this round goes in the favor of Vo, he's up one map just like that, and it's his round to lose.
Yeah,
when he's got this lead.
He can be very patient right now, and you know, Toxjq being down 2 rounds, that might add a little apprehension to where he feels he has to push.
Oh, here we go though. Massive damage on that rocket. But even then, Vo still doesn't want to dedicate because he still doesn't want to give Toxjq even a remote opening.
Yeah, like I mentioned, I anticipate to see a little conservative play right now as they know one death and that's it, especially from Toxjq. He's not going to give up anything easy.
This just becomes a game of chicken, right? Where he's challenging Toxjq. Like, how patient are you willing to be? Right now, though, Toxjq, I think, quite happy to follow suit for now, but only in 1.5 minutes into this sudden death. Plenty of time for something to happen. But while Vo is playing that slowed down game, he maintains the control of the middle of the map. So because he's got that heavy, he can slow things down. But this is just going to further frustrate Toxjq, that Toxjq is having a harder time getting that armor.
And now he just gave up that mega health. It's going to be interesting here. He still has some of his mega health left because Toxjq hasn't taken any damage. So he's a little overstacked on the health, but it's clearly Vo has a better stack right now. Oh, there we go. That rocket will help.
Still a little bit of an advantage, but that's only going to last so long while they continue to play this slow game and the overcharged health just ticks down naturally. Here we go, here's the armor. I don't think Toxjq really wants him to take it, but if he misses one of those rails, it's going to allow him. But no, double jumps over the heavy. That's oh dear.
Oh no. Oh,
but I feel like, is Toxjq going to capitalize? Does he want to risk capitalizing on this?
Oh, he's got Doomslayers. So yeah, very smart. I like that. Very good, very good.
I like the approach.
Yeah, he took an angle that Vo had no shot on him, and then he had the high ground just like Vo. Backed off with some defensive rockets, took the armor. Great play.
And I think worst case scenario, if he took a rail but got a good rocket there, they would have essentially traded the damage.
Yeah, he was in, and Vo was in that short little hallway there, so it's easy to line up some damage in there. So I thought it was a great approach by Toxjq.
It's important that he's showing this level of, like, not necessarily composure, but just he's playing as well as we know Toxjq can play, even when he's this far down. And Vo is, once again, clearly slowing things down to challenge Toxjq into making a mistake. Toxjq just isn't biting. But he's a very level-headed player anyway, you know, so I'm not surprised to see this level of composure from Toxjq.
Of course, these guys are very experienced. You know, nerves affect everybody to some degree, but when you're used to the stage, it makes it a lot easier.
Toxjq hitting a lot more rails than Vo right now, though, and that's only ever going to help him out. Quite a substantial difference.
Yes. Like, he's going to get aggressive. He knows he has him low.
Oh. Yeah, I was on shot, just half a second too late. But that's a completely free heavy.
Yep. Oh, Vo knows he can't challenge. I'd be surprised if Vo even challenges for this. He'll probably look to put a little damage on it. Oh, nice. Caught him off guard. What a mid-air rocket. Oh, but Vo landed some. Wow.
Those retaliation rockets, I mean, especially in this version of the game, so important.
Yep.
If you get caught off guard, as long as you hit one, a little bit of a fumble there, wasting maybe a second or two, but this is going to be something they're going to face. I mean, Doomslayer has got a very respectable amount of health and armor, and if they're both maintaining a maximum stack, this is what we're going to see. Hang on, Toxjq caught one more rocket, and he might go down. 29 HP is not much at all. Vo, significantly healthier.
Went for a couple mid-air rockets there, just didn't work out for him. And it was lined up. Honestly, the second shot, that mid-air rocket was there for him. He just couldn't connect.
I actually am surprised Vo didn't chase that one, because the difference in health was significant in that exchange. It hasn't been previously, and it's normally been a little bit understandable, but right there, Vo still content playing this slow game. But now he has, like you said, right, even though he didn't frag Toxjq, it allowed Vo to just get both of those items.
That was a good rail, though, by Toxjq, so at least he took the majority of that armor off. We're still in this very much tight cat-and-mouse type of game right now. Neither guy wants to make a mistake.
This could honestly be a 20-minute round. If this just continues this way and both players are content playing the way they are, it's going to be who breaks first.
You know, and as I mentioned, you know, Vo is in a good position here because the apprehension is going to be on Toxjq because he knows he needs this round no matter what.
I think that missed rail was actually going to allow Toxjq to get opening, but he's not going to chase it.
I'm a little surprised, but I understand, you know, given the circumstances that, yeah, you got to be a little wary of pushing, and especially pushing on somebody like Vo, who has great rocket placement.
All straight off the mega. Unfortunately, Toxjq's in a bad spot. He's got to try and escape it with 5 health.
Oh my!
Vo still doesn't chase.
I'm a little
he had 5 health.
I think maybe a little miscalculation. You never know.
Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, as we mentioned, pressure's on. It's easy to make stuff. Oh, my goodness.
However, even though he didn't get it, he is still massively ahead because of it.
Yeah, but still, it's now Toxjq's going to at least get back his base stack pretty soon. So it's like the advantage he just had is, oh, man.
Springs the trap, but only a little bit of damage from one individual rocket. Toxjq on that max health, but Vo's been so consistently charged over. Even when they have these exchanges, Vo just has more resources available.
Toxic's not in bad shape now. He's back to his normal stack.
It's a 6-minute sudden death we're looking at right now, and this very easily could extend, but I may have spoke too soon. Oh, the rail fails to connect, so Toxjq alive again. Would have been very weak indeed.
Vo doing a good job, though, keeping him off the major items, even though Toxjq's not giving him much to work with. He's playing smart himself and trying to limit the openings, although he was very fortunate to get away with 5 health. But Vo's also doing a great job of keeping him off these major items. And I just feel like he's just waiting for that one mistake.
I actually quite like this aggressive approach from Vo. Where he understood that if I'm controlling the middle and Toxjq's there, he kind of has to be in this portion of the map to get some of his stack back.
Yep.
So he just really sort of actually tried to bully that and get a little bit more damage where he knew Toxjq was likely to be. However, pretty far separated now. Even when there's heavy spawns, I don't think Vo's going to be nearby to capitalize on it. Maybe half a second too late. Caught him on the point with the LG though, but hasn't got a huge amount of damage.
Definitely a little miscue there by Vo. Certainly was late to that item, and Toxjq took full advantage.
And because they both missed their rails and minimal rockets too, Toxjq is still super healthy. I mean, these rails, the longer this round is going on, these rails are starting to miss more and more, and it's kind of allowing the reset to happen again.
Nice, and now Toxjq's starting to heat up with his rail. Railgun's one of those funny little weapons where it can leave you in a hurry, and now all of a sudden your opponent's just nailing you with every single shot.
I think we might be likely to see Toxjq be aggressive on this one. I mean, he got 2 of those rails, he got the heavy armor. This might be the moment we see something happen. Springs the trap. Oh, Vo! Just at that magic moment was not looking at the right place, but Toxjq didn't pull the trigger.
I think he saw him in this. I think Vo saw him in his peripheral right when he at the last. That's why Toxjq decided to back out, because he saw Vo snapping around to engage.
And they would have, yeah. There we go, that retreating rocket. 8 minutes into this sudden death. I mean, you so rarely see a sudden death go on for this long, but with 2 players of the caliber of Vo and the caliber of Toxjq, it's gonna happen.
Nice.
There's one, and ooh, the rocket doesn't connect, which again might allow Toxjq to chase this one down. Catch his side, but he's got no rails. This might be a bit of a game changer. It's not going to allow him to chase.
He's coming back. Wonder if he he recognized he's definitely going to grab it. No, he's not grabbing ammo yet.
Yeah, must see the Mega's temporarily mobile. Still doesn't go in for the rails, actually. That's 2 cases, actually. He went in for the rail and tried to pull the trigger and automatically changed weapon. Needs a little bit of ammunition. Because the problem is the rail has been a huge element of Toxjq being able to take the fight, but he's confident without it. He's going in for the kill, but he's taken so many rockets. But finally, at the last minute, Toxjq gets the last laugh and into almost a 9-minute overtime. Toxjq does seal the deal in the end.
Was able to finally get that finishing shot. You know, we saw it on both sides, actually. Both guys have gotten away with critical health on several occasions, and he was just finally able to get that final shot to get it done. And, you know, Vo was 1 good rocket away from killing him, so very intense fight.
And just like that, Toxjq's gone back to the Scale Bearer first. Potentially see if he can get something working. Didn't quite work out in the previous 2 rounds, but this time, perhaps. But it's a nice opportunity for things to almost sort of like reset back to normal with the amount of champions that sort of bring their difference to the table. But
very interesting how their styles have just gone completely to a more passive. They're listening a lot. They're really trying to get a beat on them. It shows the amount of respect, because neither guy really wants to jump into a bad situation. So they want the advantage. They want to know where their opponent is, and they're making it difficult on each other.
And I think I'd want to say that a round like that, basically a 9-minute overtime round, there are a lot of players that would be quite fatigued after a round that goes that way. But
correct.
I can't really say that I feel like Vo or Toxjq would feel too much strain after that because of how much experience they have playing in this kind of setting.
It can get to you, though. It's a long game, and then you're under pressure for that amount of time. It just wears you down. Yeah, you could get a little fatigued, but you know, these guys are pros, as you mentioned. They practice quite a bit, so they're ready for that kind of thing. You got to fight through it.
Toxjq's rockets have been on point, but unfortunately so have Vo's, forced to retreat. But we're going to see at such a consistently slow pace. Does miss one of those rockets, but no, the charge runs out at the last minute. Toxjq's now in big trouble. I don't think he's going to survive that one. Yeah, caught in the air with a rocket into LG. If you Scale Bearer with that chunky old hitbox, I mean, not much you can do there.
Yeah, again, Vo landed some excellent rockets. You know, it was a good charge, initial charge by Toxjq. He got the hit, but he just, after that, it was all Vo.
He's trying to push this one in. I actually love the dedication, convinced that he could take every ounce of that so long as he got to Mega at the last minute. And because he did it, that brave moment to keep pushing has now allowed him to massively ahead of Toxjq. Look at the difference. Got some health now, but he still has a nice amount of health over Ranger regardless, just by default.
Yeah, Toxjq's going to be very passive right now. He's in a world of hurt, especially with a fully stacked Sorlag running around. It's probably be looking for that Dire Orb setup, I think, again.
It's pretty much 3 for 3 rounds. Toxjq's try to go to it. And I think some important data is going to be that Vo clearly does not mind playing a slow game. So if he's able to let an overtime go to 9 minutes, he will play a 5-minute round. I mean, like, the half of this round is already done, and now he's got a champion limit. You know Vo was likely to play on that champion limit after how he displayed last round.
It's a very valid strategy, especially if you change it up suddenly for whatever reason you're playing passively, and then he goes super aggressive. It can throw your opponent off, and it's just important to be smart in these type of events. Don't overextend. Recognize who you're playing. You know, Toxjq is top. Oh wow!
That's gonna. Oh, and he gets another one. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure even without that frag, Vo was just content keeping Toxjq behind, let alone get a frag in that exchange. Yeah. Oh no, off the spawn, Toxjq. He's in a lot of danger.
There's a lot of danger. I'm a little surprised Vo didn't go for that, but that again just shows you the respect he has for Toxjq as a player. Even though he had 100 health, that's just 100 health. It can go very quickly against somebody like Toxjq.
Also, it might have been that he didn't trust his ability to maybe chase it down. I know Berserk, considering Vo wasn't really riding any kind of movement momentum, Berserk putting you instantly at that 550 speed, I don't know whether he thought he could chase it reliably.
Yeah, and coming down those stairwells down the jump pad, you're not in a great position. So that's more of a I know I can get the finish because you're going to take damage on the way down.
However, regardless of how Toxjq has been able to get his stack back up, we can't ignore this clock. We're almost 1 minute left of this round, and Vo has been playing so patiently. I mean, 1 minute for 2 frags. He'll happily take that advantage all day, every day, especially in this kind of, like, this level of play.
Yeah, Toxjq needs to make a move. Realistically, he needs a frag fast, like now. He needed a frag 20 seconds ago. That's how I feel about it right now. Already, if he was only down 1 with a minute to go, that'd be tough enough. But being down
Toxjq
2,
again has no rail. He's had to give himself a little bit more ammo. I mean, he actually was like in line of that too, but he had no ammo to get the job done.
He needs to go all in right now. He needs to go for broke and try to force a frag and then go for the spawn frag. That's his only chance in this round.
40 seconds left. It's not his friend, is this clock. Especially when he's taking rails like that. If he actually tries to be aggressive and push in, if he's taking rails along the way, what are even his chances of winning in that fight? 30 seconds left on the clock to take down 2 champions. This is a tall order. Tries to go for Berserk. Maybe he'll try and get him along the way. Maybe try and reposition as fast as possible. I don't really know. He's not going to have a Berserk for the next fight, but I don't think he needs it.
Not enough time.
15 seconds. This is reaching impossible territory.
It is.
There we go. That's going to be game, I think. Catches 1 rocket, but with that stack that Sorlag has, Toxjq can't get anything off that. 5 seconds for 2 champions. This map is done. 100%. There we go. Vo has been able to, in a very slow fashion, has been able to take this map, but we're far from over, are we, Machiavelli?
Yeah, and I'm again impressed with Vo, the way he, came out guns blazing a little bit in that first round, but then Toxjq came back, and you could see he made an adjustment. He's like, I'm going to start slow playing him, maybe force him into some mistakes, and just very, very cerebral play. I'm impressed. And the consistency, again, kind of reared its ugly head for Toxjq. There were times where it's like, man, those rails are keeping the pressure on Vo, and then there were other times where it's like, he had Vo low, and he just couldn't get that last shot.
Yeah, we also, on the subject of, like, the last shot, there was consistently times where Toxjq had no shots because he had no rail ammo. Like, it was definitely, like, in that last round, it wasn't the first time we saw Toxjq line up a shot that would have connected, but instantly swapping weapon, indicating that he has no ammunition in the rail. It was quite tricky, but I actually find it, the play we did see from Toxjq in that overtime was where he actually opted not to go for the rail. He just piled into the fight with all the rockets, and he actually won in the end. You almost worried a little bit that he was opting to not get ammo for the weapon that kept him in the fight for so long, but it did work out for him, at least in that one ridiculously long round that we did see.
I don't think he realized at first that he was out of ammo. I think he was just so caught up in playing the game, and again, that comes with the pressure of a tournament and playing somebody top like that. You can lose track of something like that, and it showed when he clicked not once, but twice. And so that clearly shows that he didn't realize that he was out of ammo. And so I don't think it was deliberate. I just think you got to give credit to Vo. one for mentally kind of making him question himself. What's going on? How do I get this win? He's slow playing me. I can't get an advantage. And you start thinking about all these other things. He forgot completely about his ammo.
Now, Blood Covenant. I'm not surprised to see this pick come through, because when Toxjq is behind, this does tend to be the map that brings him back into the fight. And I think his Slash is so well renowned in general. Toxjq being like the Quake 4 god. It's not a surprising championcy that he has gelled so well with. He really was one of the original Slashes, and just riding that momentum through now. But these other picks are going to become very interesting. Visor, first time I've really seen this champion used. On this map, Visor is very dangerous.
I was wondering if we would see Visor in this duel tournament, especially because they changed the fact that it is no longer a global announcement. So when he pops his vision, the opponent can no longer hear that he has vision. That is a major factor. It's a changing thing.
Because it's...
Yeah, before you would know he could see you, you could play off of that. You know, I'm not, okay, he can see me, and you just know to wait it out. If you don't know he has vision, that changes a lot, because now you're just going to go blindly. It's like, oh, he's just lining you up through a wall.
It's also, it's almost like, you know, I said it earlier, but it's the gift that keeps on giving, is that piercing sight, because not only is it just good for making sure that your next approach for an item might be a safe one. You know, am I going to be able to take this heavy? Is he nearby? If you can see the threat isn't there, it's way more easy if you take one of those items. Uncontested damage, you know, like there's so many corridors that someone can go through, and if you know they're around a corner and they don't know you're looking at it, that's a free rail. The benefit of Visor is that if you know someone's coming around a corner and they don't know you're there, you can charge that rail for the 10 extra damage, which is something that you so rarely see, because you don't really have time to sit there and charge. Visor has got that increased luxury, but also taking someone out in a fight, popping piercing sight as they've spawned. If you've got a nice stack and a nice amount of weaponry, it's a good tool to rush someone with.
Now that, to me, is a big factor using Visor in a duel situation. If you can just play your opponent straight up, so to speak, and get that first frag with Visor without using your vision, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I just wait a few seconds for him to respawn, pop my vision, I know exactly where you are, and you can kind of try to be aggressive and going for a quick 2-0 lead. So we'll see what happens. They're both going light, though.
Ooh, Toxjq actually looking like he's going to be a little bit aggressive, but fumbles that jump, so he's not going to quite be able to go where he wants. And now the pressure's going to be on this heavy. Does manage to get away alive. No damage taken. So Toxjq in a good form for now.
Oh,
wow. Speaking of good form, how about a 20-second frag to kickstart Blood Covenant?
Yeah, that was a great initial rocket there. A little miscue by Vo. He fell down right into him. Oh my gosh. But Vo came right back.
That was a good choice for Vo to just go straight forward, you know, hold that up arrow and just don't let go. Do not get caught by any of that rocket damage. He's alive temporarily. The Mega will easily see to that, but he had to be careful, because that's why Toxjq went in for the Visor. I think Toxjq knew he did so much damage. If he goes Visor on spawn, pops his piercing sight, if Vo is likely to be weak, he could potentially have rushed that.
So Vo's he's got to get the stack back up. He's in good shape, though. I mean, having Sorlag, again, is one of his stronger champions. We've seen it over and over again. So you got to be really careful, even with the changes. Vo is very strong, great at the bunny hopping movement. That's one of his hallmarks of his style of play. So even though he's a big, fat lizard, he gets around, like, he moves around a million miles an hour now.
And that's what I love about Quake champions, is like the deceivingly fast movement of the big champions. Trying to go in for area denial, but
Toxjq get a kill here.
Yeah. Really good calculation, knowing that, I mean, I'm not standing in the acid. Now he's probably expecting me to come one way. It doesn't really matter. He's so weak, I can just pile in there and take it out. And he was completely on the money. Vo down to his nicks. Seen very little of Vo's nicks so far.
Well, I think in the last map, Toxjq didn't get much going, so he hasn't really had to go through his champions other than that couple rounds, really.
Yeah, I actually believe he didn't actually use nicks in the previous map either, right? It was,
oh, yeah, he didn't even have, no, he didn't have nicks.
I think I have the worst memory in the world, Machiavelli. How about that? But we don't really see a huge amount, but I think even her is a very dangerous champion on this map, and if you've got good movement, which Vo does, you know, some of the best movement in the business, not just in Quake, but in all of Arena FPS, she pretty much can go wherever she wants on this map.
Toxjq's in good shape, you know. Oh my God.
You were saying, right? Just on the subject of being in good shape.
You know, yeah, he's in much better shape after that shot. Jeez.
But I feel like his team composition has made sense, you know, the way he's approaching this, but just even that early start.
That was the way he timed Vo coming around the corner on the top level like that and landed that rocket for 65 damage. Really threw Vo's movement off, caused him to fall down right in front of him. Excellent play by Toxjq, looking very strong right now on Blood Covenant.
Oh, he's a huge damage to Vo. He's in massive trouble here.
Oh yeah,
he's being aggressive as possible. The injection's been popped, but the detonation on the plasma trail, Vo. The second he was airborne there, I mean, that was it. All he had to do was detonate, and even though Anaki's got that air movement, if he's stuck in that plasma trail on detonation, see you later.
Very aggressive by Toxjq. Loved it, though. I like how he just went right in. He knew he had an advantage. Oh, my goodness. He's getting hot. Oh, my
how about one more? He just needs one more to finish this job.
No, good finish there. You're hot, dude. You don't need to get cooled off by missing rails. So just finish him with the machine gun, get that frag, and keep the momentum going. So I have a feeling he could see some amazing Toxjq stuff. There's 4 in a row.
If Toxjq keeps playing like this, we might see this map go down faster than that one overtime round.
He's certainly heating. He's heating up, man. That was some just disgusting play right there. He just mopped Vo up in that round. Certainly Vo's gotta be thinking, man, this map's not going very well. Maybe I should try to slow play, change something up. Definitely. Oh my gosh.
I mean, just before we even have time to go back, that exchange, he had the pummel out, he blown himself up. What a way to start this off. He's lost the Anarchy in record time all 3 rounds. And I thought that has been a big problem for Vo as well, losing his star champion.
And man, Toxjq is starting to get in the groove here. His slash is excellent. You can just see the great movement.
I mean, there are so many top-level Slash players in this community, but Toxjq still remains to be, in many ways, just a step above the rest of the competition.
He's in danger here, though. That was a good play by Vo.
Tries to finish the deal with the rail, but doesn't quite hit its mark.
This is smart.
But there you go, tries to juke, but hit by another rail. These rails from Toxjq have been disgustingly on the money. I don't want to jinx it, obviously, because he did just miss, as I said it, but both players very weak right now.
Yeah, but he has a good advantage point being in the high position. Oh, nice ghost walk.
Toxjq just trying to put as much distance as he can, you know, not only get the mega, but try and get the armor before he goes up there. I think Slash can be deceivingly tanky as well. The fact that she's got that natural 100 health. Even though she's got the speed and the hitbox of some of the smaller champions, she definitely doesn't suffer from the same low health count that the rest do.
Yeah, and interesting right now is that both the major items are basically spawning at the same time. This is an opportunity, if you really want to slow play, you can do that because you can kind of trade items constantly. Man, he is just landing some shots.
Consistently. I mean, unfortunately, doesn't quite get his rocket jump though, so that's going to slow him down. It's going to get the heavy regardless. But he said, right, you can, as long as the players are content taking that trade back and forth.
Yeah, well, it looks like Vo was a little late on this, so we're going to see a major fight over this heavy armor coming up, I believe.
Vo has not really been hitting a lot of these shots. He's taking humongous damage. One more shot.
No, but yeah, no.
Super Shotgun doesn't quite do enough, so Vo alive for now, but borrowed time if Toxjq gets one more good shot.
Yeah, Vo will go to the opposite side of the map. He's going to assume Toxjq's going to be here to pick up this heavy armor, which Toxjq is going to do shortly. So it's one of those things you make a read, and it's risky though. One of the things you could do, like if you're in Toxjq's position there, is push the other item, but the risk is you're leaving up the heavy armor, and it's just one of those things you got to make a judgment call on.
Actually, you find it such a ton of events really how we would say on Blood Run where Vo's accuracy was just so much more solid. He's popped the Ghost Walk to survive, but Toxjq was not quite able to get a read. In many ways, they went in the opposite direction, but it was what we saw on Blood Run where Toxjq was consistently behind because he wasn't landing his shots, but Vo was. Now on Blood Covenant, it's pretty much a complete reverse of what we saw previously where Toxjq's in control non-stop. Vo is constantly having to take these different routes just to try and not walk into a rocket or two, but he's still in a horrendous position down here. He has to try and get out of there, but with Flash, full speed, I mean, that was that.
Toxjq playing really good on this map. You can, to kind of go on what you're talking about in terms of accuracy, when you switch a map, you know, all the angles are different, and he's obviously much more comfortable there. Or he's just heating up. Maybe that could be a factor too.
Some players can be slow burners. Sometimes a map doesn't go in your favor and it can be a wake-up call to go, right, now it's time to turn the switch and actually start playing as good as I know I can. And on Blood Covenant, that was pretty much a perfect example of what Toxjq can actually do when he's able to play the way he wants to play. I actually think you could have fit that entire map into that one long round we had on Blood Run.
Yeah,
I'm fairly certain.
It was an amazing display by Toxjq there, especially, you know, coming back from a map down, you know, so it puts that extra pressure on you. You know, this is it. You can't lose. And he came back strong. Like, he looks really strong to the point that Vo should be worried a little bit, I think, going into this third map because all the momentum right now is with Toxjq.
Yeah, I think like you're going to get so much momentum as well. Ultimately, it goes as fast as that Blood Covenant map was. We saw some ridiculously fast rounds. The third one, even though it was a little bit more standard, still Toxjq was it's just the way he was playing. It was a level of aggressiveness that I hope that we can see going into future maps. On that subject, Vo now, when you are able to slow the game down so much, and then you win convincingly off a very slow style of play, and then you lose the next map very quickly on a completely, a different style of play entirely. Going into this next map, it's like, what kind of style do you adapt? Does Vo try and switch this up completely, or does he stick to his guns?
And I'm just going to give a little credit to Toxjq, though. I think Vo did try to slow blame a little bit on Blood Covenant, and I don't think Toxjq was having any of it. And he was using his slash to get around. Even that time there across the RL from Bridge, you see he had the Anarchy. It wasn't exactly close to him. I mean, he just said, the heck with it. I'm crouch sliding, I'm coming right at you. And I'm gonna beat you right now. And you know what? I like the confidence. I think Toxjq needs to stick with that and just play his game and not overthink things. You can overthink this game and it'll make you too tentative. So I think he just kind of let it loose in that game, and it worked out for him.
Now, Ruins of Sarnath being this final map, it's in many ways this is a Vo playground, this Ruins of Sarnath, because it complements so many of his champions. His movement is sublime. This is a fantastic map for players with good movement. On that subject, Toxjq, I mean, if he goes slash first, again, like we saw on Blood Covenant, it would also be quite beneficial for him. Visor coming up as well. I mean, we did see great things from his Visor. I think it allowed him to essentially bully Vo quite substantially, so I would be surprised if we don't see that again. Now, Toxjq, he's having to think about this final choice. Who's it going to be? Scale Bearer again.
Going a little heavier here, especially with Visor. That's the one thing that Visor can catch people off guard. He's got a decent stack.
Oh, yeah.
And he's not quite a heavy, but he's not exactly he's like in between medium and heavy almost. He's got a little extra, and that little extra can pay dividends in a rocket fight. So we're going to see what happens here. And I especially like Visor on Sarnath because you can find the way to cut off your opponent, right? With the teleporter taking you up, and a lot of times players will play off each other. Oh, I'm grabbing the mega health, and I can hear you below, and I'm going to keep it on equal timers. Having the vision maybe allows you to challenge for one of those items first and then fall back, and you can make a lot of different plays when you have that kind of information.
I feel like that kind of information is great because it takes an already talented Quake player and it just gives them like the best utility they could possibly have, right? Is I already know where you're probably going to be, but now I have complete eyes on you. That's like a free shot.
Yeah.
Not only do you know where they're going to be, but now you can hit them for free. They don't know you've got. It's just multi-utility abilities.
And you can make assessments off of, you see them moving a certain direction. You're like, oh, okay, your stack is X amount. Items are coming up here. You're going to take this route. Basically, I would say I would take this route if I was you, and you kind of play off of that.
So here we go. This could be the final map. I mean, it was such a slow-paced map on Blood Run from Vo, but Toxjq staying alive, staying composed, and just flipping that switch. And in a much faster fashion, decided to take Blood Covenant. But I feel like we're gonna see a lot of fast-paced stuff, I think, coming out from both these players. Even if it's not the actual action itself, I can guarantee that both these guys will just be flying around the map with these two champions.
Oh, absolutely. Look at this. Look, Toxjq staying aggressive. I like it. He's clearly feeling much more confident, putting some good damage there on Vo.
Toxjq has a nice amount of weaponry. Sorry, Vo, I guess I should say, looking at the wrong camera. Nice.
Nice. Uh-oh. Oh. I thought Vo was going to jump right over that wall and go after him there.
Wouldn't be surprising this far, and we do talk about like adaptations being made and just trying to change the way it was being approached. But Vo, he's still content playing that sort of like very careful style. I think he's going Anarchy first makes a lot of sense on this map because it's pretty insane how fast Anarchy can maneuver on Ruins.
Yeah, Anarchy, I think this is definitely great. Anarchy's pretty good on any map, in my view, but this is really nice. When you grab the Mega, and because of the air control, you can really jump down and get to that heavy armor very quickly and provide an angle that's hard for your opponent as you're, sliding through the air and moving. A little slow play here. Both guys just trying to get a beat on where the opponent is.
However, Toxjq coming up the stairs, I don't think Vo was quite ready, and because of it, Toxjq straight up behind him had complete surprise. I feel like he pretty much from the absolute bottom of the map walked up the stairs from start to finish, and there was no way Vo was ready for that approach. Perfectly executed by Toxjq.
Oh my, wow, he's feeling it right now, man. And that just illustrates what a good read that was. He like you said, he snuck up silent the whole way and ended up on his back. Like that's just a great read, and he's feeling it right now. He's definitely getting some confidence.
And at no point did Vo turn around either. Like there was no way.
He had
no way he was ready for that.
No clue. He was dead before Toxjq hit the fire button the first time. It was over before it started.
But I mean, he got a good respawn as well, and I think that's what I really enjoy about sort of the Quake champion duels is just how fast the turnaround can be. You know, it could be 2 minutes of a very slow-paced round indeed, but then one good moment, one good ambush, one good read, and then you frag one person, catch someone on spawn, 2 frags already down. And
That's
now
right.
Toxjq has complete advantage.
That's right. That's why I really feel in Quake Champions it is important to try to get those finishing frags, try to get that kill, get them out of the round, because anything can happen in these rounds, as we've seen. They can turn on a dime.
That was a nice little angle from Vo, actually. Good shot on the rail, but Toxjq still has a huge amount. He's going in with the plasma trail, but he's taking a huge amount of damage. More likely to use that speed boost to just try and get out there temporarily. With 2 minutes on the clock, Toxjq, he's now the one that's in control. If he wants to slow things down, he's going to have more speed than Doomslayer. There's basically no way Doomslayer can keep up with Slash.
Yeah, Vo is gonna have to cut him off. If Toxjq decides to run here, he clearly can't just chase him, so he's gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah, he's already trying to sort of predict where Toxjq's going to head off. He's not going to chase him down, as you said. One good rocket.
Nice play. Seeing Toxjq, he's doing the smart thing right now. He's got a 2-frag lead, you know, minute 20 to go. Make this guy come at you, make him run in through a hail of rockets.
When you find yourself in this situation, even if you don't nail a frag, even if they've got like 10 HP and they get away from the fight, as long as Vo is consistently behind here, Toxjq is completely content. This whole sequence has basically taken 1 minute. 1 minute of this round is left to go. If Toxjq constantly keeps Vo weak enough that he can't fight, then he's going to win the round anyway. He doesn't even need a frag in this scenario. Like, as long as he lands these rails, that's it.
And even keeping him low is just delaying time off the clock. Oh, great shot again. Toxjq is just on fire right now. And what a turnaround. Looks like my prediction may be going south.
I mean, it definitely looks like Toxjq has woken up.
I was looking so good in that first map. I was looking like a genius, and now it's like, whoa.
Well, Toxjq has that effect, I think, but it kind of goes back to how he has up and down performances. Like, obviously, not to take away from Vo, his performance on Blood Run was sublime, and the way he approached that was very, very well calculated. There's not many players that would play that patiently for 9 minutes on an overtime. But on the flip side, Toxjq, I mean, he's just playing out of his mind right now. And it looks like, I don't know who's going to be able to stop him in this round. I would say if Toxjq wins this game off this, I can see him making it out of this group. Because I think he's just going to keep riding this. However, let's not look too far into the future. We still have this series to finish. Cannot count Vo out yet. This guy got grand finals at QuakeCon for a reason. Oh, that hurt.
That hurt a lot. Actually, he got out of there. Yeah, it hurt a decent amount, yeah.
Any other champion, then maybe they would have been dead, but Sorlag, nice and chunky.
I was expecting him to be a little bit lower than that, but yeah, he is decently stacked.
And there's that teleporter. Here we go again. The adaptation as well, which has been changed by Vo. He's gone in with Sorlag first. We have seen if you're going to head someone off, you're going to deal with Slash. Quite a common way of dealing with her on this map is to just spring that trap. When she comes around the corner, Acid Spit, LG, or a rocket at close range, and she'll die pretty quickly.
But I think Toxic's doing a good job of keeping range, not letting him close that distance, keeping it to a rail. See, look at it, another great rail. Toxic, I'm surprised. At this point, I'm getting surprised when he misses one.
Yeah. Tries to go in for the Acid Spit, but actually doesn't manage to connect a single puddle. However,
great rocket there. That just, wow.
More of those and he'll be in good form, but
I thought Vo was toast right there.
It really shows this. Well, before we can even finish our sentence, Toxjq just coming running around the corner of that plasma trail, detonating it the second he catches sight of him. I was saying that the rocket launcher has such an amazing way of just denying any kind of kill. If you've got good rockets, it can save your skin so many different occasions, but
yes, I mean, defensive rocket play is the hallmark of great Quake players. They will keep you, oh my.
Oh no, he tries to go in for the ground shot for extra damage, but I mean, that 100 damage rocket, you land a ground shot, even if you are Anarchy and you're off the ground, you're still probably going to kill yourself in that situation. And that's not the first time Vo's accidentally killed himself.
Toxic's in great shape. Yep, going in for the kill for sure. That was just,
That was a very Slash way of dealing with Doomslayer right there.
Yeah, it was, right?
The Hang did the same thing against Ron.
It seems to be a very valid strategy because people who pop Doomslayer you see them, they'll come right at somebody. So backing off and reverse crouch sliding and dropping a trail, it seems to be a very valid strategy.
And it's also the fact that if Doomslayer is dedicated to that lunging punch,
Yep.
I mean, he's stuck in that lunge.
Correct.
He can't move. Like, he's
Yep.
stuck in that movement.
He's going in that line, and that's it. So if you lay a plasma trail down there, he's going to take a lot of damage and the explosion.
Now, this has been a very impressive turnaround for Toxjq. In fact, is on match point against our QuakeCon Grand Finalist, Vo. I mean, this would be a very impressive turnaround for Toxjq. That first map was so dominantly against him. But Vo having a hard time on Ruins, very hard time.
And this will certainly make bracket A very interesting, Group A, because, you know, Dewey beat Toxjq, but now Toxic's going to lose to Vo. I think Scissor lost to Vo. It's going to be interesting. It's going to come down to the wire, I think, in this group. I don't know who's going to make it out.
I mean, it's like we're talking as if Toxjq has already won. It's looking good so far, but I mean, Vo, he could pull off the miracle and make this 3-round comeback. We have seen it time and time again. Tries to spring a trap, but Toxjq one step ahead, ready for him to be right there. And in fact, Toxjq doing way more damage to Vo in that situation. He's trying to spring the trap, but Vo is just a little bit slow on the mark. Consistently right here, he's not getting any damage for these good reads. Loses the Mega as well. Toxjq just needs to land one more solid shot, and Vo is going to lose this Anarchy for one more time.
Who's going to get this heavy? Oh, there it is. Oh, man.
Oh,
I was
no.
wondering if he was going to catch him dropping down. I was like, is he going to go for that? And he did. And great. Wow.
Now, the saving grace is right there. Vo spawned right next to Toxjq, but Toxjq was not going in that direction. I mean, he could have potentially got this Soul Lag done. He might already have a dead Soul Lag if he went left instead of right. But Toxjq has no reason to overextend. He approached Soul Lag so intelligently before, and I mean, Toxjq having a quite like a competitive rivalry with Razy with the exact same kind of Soul Lag situation. He knows how to handle this champion at this stage. He's fought it enough times.
Vo's in big trouble right now. He's in this kind of cut corner. Yep. There's really nowhere you can go right there. It's really tough. Great job by Toxjq recognizing that his opponent was low, keeping him trapped in that area, and then landing a great rail for the finish.
Oh, he dedicates in towards the Berserk mode. Unfortunately, he's going to be stuck in that Berserk mode for a substantial amount of time. He's taking so much damage, and he's only just been able to get a weapon on board. Goes in for the pummel, and that's not going to work either. Toxjq completely flips the momentum switch and moves on against Vo. That was ridiculous.
Wow.
Machiavelli.
Wow. What it, like, it's just amazing turnaround. And man, when Toxjq is hot, dude, like, does this guy miss? I mean, seriously, there's some times it's like, okay, I guess he decided to turn on the aimbot, I guess, because...
I feel like you can describe Toxjq with extreme highs and extreme lows. Like, he's either one end of the seesaw or the other. But when he does manage to reach that point, it feels like he could beat anyone in the world when he's playing that way.